Yes.
And show us what movement you've got. How far can you turn your head? So it's about, so I'm just doing the line there, yeah, and the other way is about there. So it's slightly over 90 degrees, that's all. Okay, all right. And for how many years has this been like this?
For 3 years, she said, but when she turns the head very quick, that part of the head, the right part of the head, in that part of the head has a very strong pain, can take few months.
Oh.
Yeah. If she's not careful and she,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, if she turns her head,
Yeah.
she tries not to, the pain
Okay.
is there for few
That's
months.
cool. So all that's happened for me is as I've asked for a healing for Christiana, my hands are now fixed. It's like, okay, the work's been done. Okay, so while I'm working on Christiana, let's just join some dots. All right, so who do you think you are? You're not the name your parents gave you. That's just a name, it's just a label. And you're not the story of your life so far. That's just what you've experienced so far. You're not this physical form. You have this physical form, but it's not who you are. So who are you? Makes you think, doesn't it, eh? Who am I? Who am I? If I have a body, yes, I have a body. I have consciousness, I can think, I can feel. If I stick a pin in you, it doesn't hurt me. I may wince, I may have compassion, but I won't hurt. So I've got a physical form, but my consciousness extends beyond this form. How do I know that? Let's try it. Let's close our eyes. Notice if you can feel how the energy in the room feels. I don't mean the temperature of the room, but can you feel if the energy in this room feels nice and light? It feels nice and light to me. There's some curiosity here. Cool, then you can open your eyes. So we as consciousnesses, we're not just conscious of what happens within these bodies, as in thoughts in our head, feelings in our body, but we can sense that world out there. You can sense how a tree feels, or a bird, or another human being. Yes, so the consciousness that you are isn't limited to this form. So as I work as a healer, one of the things that the surgeons have taught me to do is to feel the energy that's trapped. Not trying to fix it. If I tried to fix it, that would be my ego, thinking I can fix this. All I've got to do is feel it. And also not to mentally label it too much. In this situation for Christina, I've got an energy which is to do with forgiveness. And so we're going to talk about forgiveness.
Can I tell her?
Yeah.
E o energie care are de face cu iertarea.
Yeah. So I'll need to tell you more. Okay. It's always struck me as odd. That when somebody crosses me, I am the one that has to do all the self-work to forgive them. Surely they should have to do it. You know, they're the one that's been in the wrong, yeah? But I've learned that that's not true. I have to do it. And I sort of did it begrudgingly for a while. Now I do it with delight. Whenever anybody crosses me, I am ready to forgive them. Straight away. Why? Because I've realised this. I'm going to use a different story. How many of you have burnt yourselves accidentally? Burnt yourselves or scalded yourselves, yeah? And the first thing we very often do is we're cross with ourselves for being so clumsy, for not paying attention. Now that judgment of ourselves stops the healing of the cells. We're making ourselves bad or wrong for being so clumsy. So the next time something like that happens for you, don't do that bit. Just notice, oh, it is what it is. Now, why talk about that? It's a story. A gentleman was running a workshop in London, and a lady burnt herself really, really badly. And the participants were saying, "Let's go, let's phone for an ambulance. You know, third-degree burns, whatever, we need to go get that treated. And he said, no, hang on a minute, just first of all, let me show you something. First, stop making yourself wrong for burning yourself. To the lady, it was painful, but she stopped blaming herself for it hurting. And then he just got her to take her awareness into the cells and notice that that heat is the heat from the burn, and that's the cells dispersing that heat. That's a good thing. That's your body healing itself. And in front of everybody's eyes, that never blistered, the redness went down, and within about 10 minutes she didn't need any medical treatment. Isn't that cool? Yeah? So, what happens is we have been conditioned through this lifetime to judge things as good or bad, right or wrong. And our parents did that because they wanted to keep us safe. They wanted you to know, don't drink the poison under the sink. You know, eat your veggies. Yeah? So you've been your whole life looking for what's good, what's bad, what's right, what's wrong. What if none of it is good or bad, right or wrong? What if everything simply is? And what I mean by this is, if you don't judge a thing as good or bad, right or wrong, everything will then flow in your life. Let me explain. If I make something wrong, if I make something right, as soon as I make this right, I'm making other things wrong by making this right. You know, this is a healthier meal compared to an unhealthy meal. Or this bed is uncomfy, it's lumpy. When we make things wrong, there's like a resistance that we feel in our bodies. Alright, so let me give you some examples. I want you to imagine that you've just won the lotto. Close your eyes and imagine, seriously, you've won the lotto. It's not a mistake, it's not a dream. You've won the lotto and it's £6 million and oh my goodness, you're so excited. Can you feel how every cell in your body starts to come alive and starts to tingle? Yes? Yes. If you could do that for yourself every day, you will never get cancer. Seriously, if you can get your cells tingling like that. The biggest tingle of my life was when I met this really handsome man from New Zealand. He came in and he asked me out. And I was like, yeah? Sarah's dad. Yeah? But there are things that you think about that make you go, yeah, and in that state, your body's not going to get sick. Now let's think of some other things. Close your eyes and I want you to imagine a bill arrives, or a letter from a debt collection agency, or your mother-in-law's coming to stay for 2 months. That does it every time, doesn't it? Can you feel how your body goes, yeah? You're an energetic being and you're living in a world of energy, and what we experience here isn't about what we deserve. What we experience is how we're holding our energy. So let's go back to forgiveness. It seems like I've gone a long, long way around, but it all makes sense in the end, trust me. I used to be a bank manager. Right. So, when we judge a thing as bad or wrong, something in our energy field constricts. And so when we make somebody's behaviour wrong, we hold a corresponding energy within us. Forgiveness means dropping that energy so that their behaviour doesn't contaminate you. Now, I'm going to use an example that I found the hardest thing, which is somebody that's a paedophile. That's the hardest thing I find to deal with. So guess what? Universe sent me a paedophile to heal. Anyway, long story short. So, when we make that person wrong, it's our energy field that clenches. And so forgiveness is finding that clenching in our energy field and letting it go. It is not condoning that behaviour, but it then leaves all my energy free to do what I think is right. Yeah? That makes sense? So what I need Christina to do, I need her to think of that situation about judgment and to notice how she feels when she makes that situation wrong and to drop that energy.
I think this, it will be a recording with this session, and I will translate.
Oh no, do it now or she won't get well.
I will do it,
Yeah.
And she needs to imagine.
So she needs to think of the situation that requires forgiveness.
La situația la care cere iertare, la care trebuie să ierți la o situație.
So if she closes her eyes
Închizi ochii
and thinks of that situation, and then I want her to notice where in her body she feels tightness when she thinks of how wrong that situation is.
Trebuie să spui în ce parte simți o strângere în corp, ceva rău în corp, când te gândești la acea situație pe care tu trebuie să o ierți.
In the heart.
Chest?
In the heart, yeah, chest, okay. And then just to drop that
Și să o
energy.
lași, să o lași, să o
Yeah,
lasă
to
calmă,
let it
să
go.
o renunți.
Just let it go. Just let it
Să
go.
o lasă
Okay.
plece senzația.
So the behaviour isn't right. We're not condoning the behaviour, but we're noticing that when we make them wrong,
Când faci,
we
când te gândești că alți oameni ți-au greșit,
we drop. Something in us stiffens, and we're letting that go. So we're not going to let their behaviour affect us.
nu trebuie să lași atitudinea celorlalți să te afecteze.
And for all of you, there will be something. There'll be something that it's still an issue you've not forgiven. It might be a small thing, might be a big thing. Close your eyes and just bring that scenario into your mind. Notice where in your body you hold it, and then just realise you're not condoning that behaviour, but what you're going to do is you're going to stop your judgment of that behaviour being like a shield or a block in your energy field. You're just going to let it go. You're going to let the energetic response within you to that behaviour go. Okay, and then I'm going to get her to try turning her head again.
Trebuie să întorci capul. Să vezi dacă e mai ușor când întorci capul.
Dar nu știu când poate să mă ia această durere. Este spontană.
Zice că nu știe când o ia acea durere bruscă. Intervine așa. Sorry. She don't have that strong pain.
The strong pain's gone.
Na,
Yeah. That's good. That's good. All right, so our parents taught us good and bad, right and wrong, so that we wouldn't come to any harm. Yeah? And you still know within you what's good or bad, right or wrong for you, but what you don't know is what's good or bad, right or wrong for anybody else, because you're not them. You will see things happen out there in your world and you'll think that's not right. That's fine, that's okay, but drop your resistance in your body, drop it, just let it go, and then it won't contaminate you. It's one of the most fundamental things we can do to help ourselves get well is not judge anybody else. Right, and then try moving again. Oh, that's better, isn't it? That is much, much
It's
better.
on the side, the bad side, yeah, the one on the left.
That's a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.